was a lot. So moving forward, let's skip to the third chapter. So like I said, we have Berklee Boston and we have Berklee Online. Another piece of the Berklee consortium is the Boston Conservatory at Berklee, which used to be a separate school. It has always been our sister school and has been present in Boston for the past 150 years, which makes it one of the most ancient conservatory in the United States. In 2016, he merged with Berklee College of Music. So he became a part of the large Berklee consortium. So now the admission process for the Boston Conservatory is actually different and separated from Berklee College of Music. However, if you're a Berklee student, you can take advantage of all the resources and facility that we have at the Boston Conservatory. So really you will have access to two different school facilities, two different communities and cohort of students that come from different backgrounds, do different styles of music and so forth. And also you will have access to some of the programs at the Boston Conservatory as well. So let's say that you are studying contemporary music, but you have an interest for, let's say, musical theater or dance and so forth, you can still minor in some of these subjects at the conservatory. So there's a number of cross-curriculum opportunities that are not to be that need to be considered by anybody who's applying for the college. So let's talk a little bit about the highlights of Berklee. As you can see, it's top ranked when it comes to college for music careers. We have a number of resources that include practice facilities, recording studios scattered all over the planet, and we are the only college in the world that does all styles of music. Okay, so it doesn't matter really where you're coming from. You could come from a classical background, you could come from a jazz background, or metal or rock, whatever that you're into. There's room for you to find. There's a possibility. There's a chance for you to find your spot at Berklee in this community of students and faculty and alumni. We have a very diverse student body. We have over 35% of our students who are international. So there's a very high chance the person sitting next to you is going to be from a completely different part of the world, bringing new perspective and bringing new styles of music. Moving forward, something very exciting that happened a little bit of roughly a year ago is Berklee, New York City. So it's a brand new campus that we have in NYC offering a new master program. And this is a video telling you all about it.
New York is what you dream about.
New York is late night television shows.
New York is vibrant.
It's the ultimate testing ground.
The epicenter.
New York is drive.
Ambition.
Electricity.
Skyscrapers.
Theater.
New York is the arts.
New York is the music mecca of the world.
Berklee is the ultimate incubator.
Berklee is community.
Berklee is exciting.
Is energy.
Technology.
Cutting edge.
Berklee coming together with New York is going to be explosive.
Berklee in New York will be immersive.
Where it's all happening.
Where students can have experience right outside their doorstep.
Is going to be a game changer.
The Master of Arts in Creative Media and Technology at Berklee NYC will have 3 specializations. Live Experience Design, also known as LED.
Students in LED will get an amazing course in state-of-the-art video production, large LED wall installations, projection mapping, and multi-channel sound design for live events.
An integrated approach to songwriting and production.
Students in the songwriting and production specialization will be immersed in the technology of beat making and music production, and will be constantly collaborating with their peers, experiencing all of the roles of the contemporary writing room, including top lining and lyric writing.
Writing and design for musical theater.
Students will pursue an organic approach to storytelling, considering the look and feel of the worlds their characters inhabit, while taking an idea from inception to the stage. They'll also have the opportunity to record their songs in the same studios where Broadway cast albums are made.
Now is the time to reimagine your career.
When you're ready.
When you're ready.
Come join us.
All right. So, and speaking of how you make this happen, right? In case you needed more information, in case you were curious to just start your application and moving forward, berklee.edu/apply, which is the link there appeared at the end of this video, is going to be the place to do that. It doesn't matter if you decide to go to, let's say, Boston campus, to Boston Valencia, or Berklee Online. it all begins with this link, which is berklee.edu/apply. So speaking a little bit about summer programs, like I mentioned earlier, we do have a number of these happening between July and August. The most popular one that we have is a 5-week program that is actually taking place right now. And that's where we take in students really from all backgrounds. We take in students that are 14 or 15 years of age and up. It doesn't matter what kind of style of music you're coming from. Also, there are no particular admission processes that you have to, or auditions that you have to do to participate into this program, because it's a short-term program, but it will award you a number of college credits that are transferable that you can use towards the college where you're going to, or towards Berklee if you're coming to Berklee as an undergrad student. So in terms of our numbers, currently we have a little bit over 6,000 students enrolled. Our classes are very small. We try to keep them small because, as you probably know, that one of the most important things in the music industry is to know who you're working with, to have connections. And your connections at Berklee start from in the minute that you do orientation, you sit next to somebody who may be somebody who will employ you one day or work with you. So networking is extremely important. As I mentioned earlier, we have a little bit over 35% of international enrollment, and you can see the stats speak for themselves. When it comes to the Grammys, their alumni have won over the years. Also, another important piece of information is that between 80 and 90% of the people that graduate from Berklee actually get to work in the music industry. And just to piggyback on what I just said, this is just a few of the major companies that have been hiring our alumni. As you can see, Spotify, Disney, Apple, Google, Facebook, and then Live Nation, NBC Universal, and so forth. So how do you make this happen? How do you apply? Like I said, berklee.edu/apply is the way that you start your journey at Berklee, no matter of the campus or the program that you want to apply for. However, if we're talking about an undergraduate program in the city of Boston, the process is to apply online, to audition and interview, and then to submit your supplemental materials. So the process it's pretty simple, and it does require an audition, as some of you may have heard before. So I'm going to break this down in a little bit. Something else that you need to be aware of is our application deadlines. Obviously, we have 3 semesters. We have a fall, spring, and summer. So 3 entry points through the year, and different application deadlines based on the semester that you like to enter. So right now, applications for both spring and fall are open. So we're talking January 2022 and September 2022. So in terms of major, these are the 12 majors that we have available for the undergraduate programs. Like I mentioned, it's 12 now, but it's going to be 14 at the end of the summer because we're adding in 2 more majors, okay? So it would take me a long time to kind of explain in detail what each of these majors entail. So if you have any specific questions later on during the Q&A, I'm happy to address these. One good thing to know about these, as you look at this and you're probably confused, don't know what the differences are, is that you actually do not need to choose any of these until your second year at Berklee. That means that all entering students at Berklee come in as undeclared, and they only choose a major in the end of the first year, when they have a much better sense of what these programs are about, what they entail, when they've spoken to our department chairs, senior students, and so on. So let's talk about the audition, as this seems to be the hottest topic when it comes to Berklee College of Music. Very, very important, very, very exciting moment in your life is to face our faculty in what we call the A&I. A&I stands for audition and interview. The audition is made of 4 parts, right? So usually we travel to over 50 cities internationally and domestically to deliver audition to students on their turf. Because of the pandemic, obviously these had to stop. And in the past year and a half, we only delivered online auditions, which have worked out fantastically. We're ready to resume in-person auditions. So like I said, if you can come to Boston, we can have an in-person audition, and we plan to go back to our international sites starting in the end of this year. So stay ready, because in November, December, if everything looks good internationally and if everything is hopefully a little bit more under control, we'll be able to be in Asia like we do every year. So when it comes to audition, there's really 4 segments. What does it look like to participate in this audition? You show up and then you're placed into a room for 50 minutes, right? Well, in this room, you get to review our sight reading materials and you get to warm up on your instrument, right? You could be a guitarist, a drummer, you could be a pianist, you could be a vocalist. Okay, if you're a vocalist, obviously voice is going to be in the system, in our system is going to be your principal instrument. So you get to warm up and review these sight reading materials. Then somebody's going to get you and bring you to a room with 2 faculty. Okay, it's going to be either an in-person meeting or it's going to be a Zoom meeting where you'll see 2 of our faculty. That's when you get to do your prepare piece. Prepare piece is a piece of your choosing, really. You know, it could be any musical style. It could be rock, classical, it could be jazz, whatever that you're into, whatever that makes you stand out. Has to be from 3 to 5 minutes, right? You could play a cappella, you could play on a backing track, you could play with an accompanist, with your music teacher, with your band. It doesn't really matter, right? You need to find the best settings for yourself to shine. So whatever you think makes you look good, playing alone or playing with a band or playing with an accompanist, that's what you need to do. Number 2 is going to be improvisation. Most likely our faculty will play an instrument. It could be a guitar, piano, or bass, and you just have to improvise with them. Number 3 is going to be your training. This is a number of clapping exercises that you need to respond to. And is also a few questions about music theory. You may be asked to recognize if a chord is major, is minor, is 7, is diminished, and so forth. You may be asked to identify the notes within a chord. So, just a little mental exercise. If I say F minor, are you able to think on top of your head, which one are the notes contained in this chord, and so forth. And then last piece is going to be a sight reading. So sight reading is usually a couple of brief practice exercises that you have to sight read that are specific to your instrument. And these are the same materials that you're shown into the practice room before the audition. Moving forward, why is it so important to audition? Because through the audition, you get scholarship money, so it's very, very important because 45% of our entering students end up getting scholarship through the audition process, right? The more outstanding you are during the audition, the more likely you are to get a generous scholarship. So our scholarship range from $0 all the way to full tuition. And that's why it really, really makes a difference in the way you begin your career, because the scholarship are actually renewable from day 1 all the way to graduation. So it kind of really sets the tone of how you start your career. You could be admitted with no scholarship, it does happen, or you could be admitted with a generous scholarship, which is going to put you you and your family in a much better place to face the challenges, the financial challenges of coming into the States and studying at Berklee and so forth. So this is what we call merit-based scholarship, because like I said, the more prepared you are for the audition process, the more likely you are to get scholarship money, right? This is not the only one. We also have a presidential scholarship which will cover for 100% of your tuition as well as your accommodation cost. And there's only like a very close number available every year, but these do get awarded. So like I said, prepare for your audition and be ready to shine, because this does happen. And then moving forward, something I know that this is kind of an update from a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, 2018, but it never gets old. So starting in 2018, we started taking in EDI, electronic digital instrument, as a principal instrument at Berklee, just like any other instrument, just like guitar, bass, or piano. If you do electronic music, if you play electronic digital instruments like this one in the picture, usually it's a EDI. What we consider EDI is a computing device, a laptop, an iPad, a user configured software, Ableton Live, whatever that you're using, and a performance controller like some of the what you see here in this picture. So if that's what you do, you can now audition on EDI even remotely, because before EDI was only an audition that we used to do in Boston, and now it's available online. Okay, and there's a very detailed video that you can check out on YouTube, and it's called Berklee College of Music, How to Audition on EDI. So if you're an EDI player, you should definitely check that out. So after the audition, we also have an interview in place. The reason why we do interviews is because we do not need you to submit any essay. We do not need you to submit any SAT or ACT, and that's why we interview everybody. Usually it's a 15-minute interview that happens right after the audition, where we ask you questions about your goals, about what you've done, what you plan to do, why you're applying to Berklee, in what way you can serve the Berklee community, and so on and so forth. So we, like I said, that when it comes to the audition and the interview, we have a very, very detailed manual that you can find online. So if you go on Google and you look up Berklee audition guidelines, you'll find this manual, and it will kind of break down even in more detail than what I've been describing today, what the audition process is and what the interview process is. After your audition and interview, all you have to do is submit your supplemental materials. Okay, the most important piece of this is going to be your transcripts. So if you're coming out of high school, we're going to take your high school transcripts. If you're coming out of college, we can take your college transcript. What we need to see is the most updated records of education that you have, right? If you're coming from a school that does not use American standards, you're gonna have to go through a credential evaluation. This is something very common for US schools. It could be ECE or WES. If English is not your first language, you may also have to submit language certificates like TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo, and you can see the required scores on the slide. And also, we also have non-mandatory materials like personal statements, song links, letter of recommendation that you can email us so that they can get attached to your application. Okay, so I'm going to end it right here because I know that I want to leave enough room for the Q&A. But I would like to encourage you to download this this digital viewbook, because that's the most important piece to have if you are looking to apply to Berklee or really to any other performing arts / music institute. I think it's a good resource to have. So make sure that you go ahead and scan this QR code before I actually exit this mode, and I start answering some questions, okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So I'll start by asking some of the questions I received. So the first question is it possible to double major? So like music performance and music business, and how would the workload look like?
Great question. Yes, you can double major. Like I said, you will only be able to declare a major in the end of the first year. You can declare one and then you can add another major as your double major. So what happens in terms of workload, it does add 1 year to your Berklee career. So for the undergraduate programs, you're looking at 4 years. If you decide to double major, you're looking at a total of 5.
Okay.
But if you ask me if that's a good thing to do, I absolutely support that, because being able to have a diverse education in this particular field, which is music and performing arts, is absolutely vital. So if you, let's say, decide to do a production major, but you also in the back of your head think that at one point you may be an educator or you could be a teacher at an international school, it would be good for you to have 2 double major also in music education, for example, so that you always leave that door open in case you wanted to apply to be a music director or a music teacher at a school or international school, for example.
Okay, the next question is the audition process the same for composition? Yeah.
Yes, so the process is exactly the same. That's why we only allow students to choose their major in the second year, because a lot of students that come in, pretty much 90% of students that come in with certain ideas about a major end up changing their mind when they find, more information about what our programs entail. So it doesn't matter what major you're getting into, the audition process is going to be exactly the same.
Okay, so another question is, if students declare their major later on, what type of courses would they take in the first year?
So the first year is kind of we call a music boot camp. So really is core curriculum. So it will be music theory, it will be harmony, it will be your training, it will be private instruction, it will be liberal arts, and so forth. So it's kind of like the standardized curriculum that it's the same for all entering students that you have to go through before you get to the end of the first year and you can declare a major. And after that happens, you're gonna start pretty much taking classes that pertain to the major that you're chosen. But that's why the first year is kind of like the must go through a phase for each entering student.
Okay, the next question is, does the university expose students to non-music subjects?
Yeah, by all means. That's right. So Berklee is not a music institute. It's not like a music center. It's a college, and in every possible way. You know, our students that complete programs on the undergraduate side, you know, some of them go on to do MBAs or study law and so forth. So technically, the requirement of an undergraduate program of a college is to also have you take liberal arts, which are non-music subjects, and at the same liberal arts that you would take in any other college, right? So it will give you the background that you need to, let's say.
Berklee's Boston campus pulses with music, theater, dance, and artistic energy. Located in the city's vibrant Back Bay neighborhood, it's an ideal place to begin developing your lifelong professional network with artists and creative thinkers from all over the world. From our custom-built high-rise that houses students, a dining hall that doubles as a concert space, and a 10-studio music production complex, to our state-of-the-art classrooms, practice facilities, and performance halls, Berklee offers an unparalleled setting for students to learn and develop as artists. Find yourself here. Schedule a campus tour and experience Berklee firsthand.
All right. One good, very good piece of information for those of you that are in Boston or can go to Boston. We have resumed in-person tours and in-person auditions. So that's a good thing to know in case you find yourself stateside. So when it comes to campus, this is one of our dorms actually in the city of Boston. Very unique place on earth that does all styles of music. Okay, we really number one when it comes to contemporary music. So if your heart is in contemporary music, this is definitely the place where you want to be at. When it comes to our programs, we have 12 majors for undergraduate programs. We have a number of international / summer programs that run in the summer. And we also have a number of master's programs. We have one running in the city of Boston called Global Jazz Performance. We have 3 specializations running in New York City, and we have 4 more master programs in Valencia, Spain at our branch campus. Part of the Berklee Consortium is also Berklee Online, which is a very, very extensive catalog of programs that range from undergrad to grad to certificate programs. Okay, I really recommend you checking it out, as you may find something that you've been looking for a long time. And then when it comes to Spain, like I said, in 2012, we built this campus. It's our Valencia campus in Spain, originally to deliver our 4 master programs. We have music production, technology and innovation, contemporary performance, global entertainment and music business, and scoring for film, TV, and video games. Obviously, to access these programs, you are going to need a bachelor in music. These programs are usually 1 year long. And we also have something else that I highly, highly recommend, which is what we call first year abroad. What you can do is you can apply for your Boston degree, your Berklee degree in Boston, and then you can choose to spend your first year of undergraduate studies in Valencia, Spain. In this way, you will have access to a completely different community of students and professors. And then after you're done with your first year, you can move to Boston to continue and finish your program. And this, like I said, it's a matter of access to a completely different community of students and faculty and musicians and so on and so forth. So when it comes to the Berklee Consortium, there's another very, very important piece, and that's the Boston Conservatory at Berklee. The Boston Conservatory is one of the most ancient conservatory in the United States with over 150 years of history. It's our sister schools. We have been located historically right next to each other. And then in 2016, the two schools merged and became one, right? So the Boston Conservatory now is the Boston Conservatory at Berklee. The programs are still separate and different. The admission process is also separated from Berklee. So it's kind of like a different process that you would have to go through. But the great thing about the merge is all the opportunities that the merge has created. So you will have access to the facilities of another school. You'll have access to the community and the students of other backgrounds coming more from the classical side of things. And then you'll have access to a number of cross-curriculum opportunities, meaning that if you are a student who's studying blues or jazz, but you also have a passion for, let's say, dance or musical theater, then you can technically minor or take some of the classes at the Boston Conservatory as well. And obviously that's going to make your curriculum a lot more diverse. So moving forward, let's talk a little bit about the highlights. Like I said, we're top ranked when it comes to music industry careers, and we are the largest independent college of music in the world. One great thing about Berklee is that we focus on all styles of music. So it doesn't matter where you're coming from. If you're coming from a classical background, if you're coming from a jazz, blues, pop background, there's room for you at Berklee. And also our student body is really, really diverse. We have a little bit over 35% of our total enrollment being international. That means that there's a very, very high chance that the person sitting next to you is going to be from a completely different place, bringing completely different perspectives, which is extremely important in this field. And then, like I mentioned, we also have a campus in New York City, is what we call Berklee NYC, where we launched one master programs with 3 different specializations. And this video will tell you a little bit more about it.
New York is what you dream about.
New York is late night television shows.
New York is vibrant.
It's the ultimate testing ground.
The epicenter.
New York is drive.
Ambition.
Electricity.
Skyscrapers.
Theater. New York is the arts.
New York is the music mecca of the world.
Berklee is the ultimate incubator.
Berklee is community.
Berklee is exciting.
Is energy.
Technology.
Cutting edge.
Berklee coming together with New York is going to be explosive.
Berklee in New York will be immersive.
Where it's all happening.
Where students can have experience right outside their doorstep.
Is going to be a game changer.
The Master of Arts in Creative Media and Technology at Berklee NYC will have 3 specializations. Live Experience Design, also known as LED.
Students in LED will get an amazing course in state-of-the-art video production, large LED wall installations, projection mapping, and multi-channel sound design for live events.
An integrated approach to songwriting and production.
Students in the songwriting and production specialization will be immersed in the technology of beat making and music production, and will be constantly collaborating with their peers, experiencing all of the roles of the contemporary writing room, including top lining and lyric writing.
Writing and design for musical theater.
Students will pursue an organic approach to storytelling, considering the look and feel of the worlds their characters inhabit, while taking an idea from inception to the stage. They'll also have the opportunity to record their songs in the same studios where Broadway cast albums are made.
Now is the time to reimagine your career.
When you're ready.
When you're ready.
Come join us.
They were right all along. When you're ready, come join us. To begin your Berklee career, all you have to do is go to berklee.edu/apply, and that's how you begin your journey, no matter the program that you're interested in pursuing. So moving forward, we're going to talk a little bit about the summer programs that run in July and August. They're running right now, actually. They're extremely cool. There's not a whole lot of admissions requirement to get into these, and they're the perfect opportunities for you to get a taste of, the Berklee campus and the programs and the teaching styles of our faculty and so forth. The most popular one is probably the 5-week that runs in July and August. Like I said, not a whole lot of admission requirement. As long as you played your instrument for over 6 months and you are over 14 years of age, you can actually participate. Okay, this will also give you transferable college credits that you can use towards your Berklee career, undergraduate career, or any other college. So speaking a little bit about our numbers, we have over 6,000 students currently enrolled, small classes, 36% international enrollment, and then the numbers speak for themselves when it comes to the Grammy that our alumni have won. Another very important piece of this is that a little bit over 80% of our graduate students are working in the music industry, which means automatically that these folks were able to make their dream come true, which is the dream is to build a sustainable career in the field of music, right? And along these lines, I've also prepared a list of companies that have hired our alumni. As you can see, from Spotify, Disney, Apple, Google, to Tesla and Facebook, NBC Universal, from the music industry to the movie industry. I apologize about the sirens. Welcome to Boston, I would say. So moving forward, how do you make this happen? How do you apply? You can begin your journey at berklee.edu/apply, no matter the programs that you're looking to pursue, right? If you're looking into pursuing an undergraduate program, you're also going to have to audition and interview, and we'll talk a little bit about this in a second. And then number 3, you'll have to submit your supplemental materials. When you apply, be aware of the application deadlines that we have in place. We have 3 entry points. We have fall, spring, and summer. They all have different application materials, application deadlines. Right now, actually, the spring and the fall semester are open for you to apply. So right now, you could apply to be here in January 2022 or September 2022. And then we're going to talk a little bit about our majors. So these are all the majors available for the undergraduate programs. You can see 12 on this list, but these are going to be 14 by the end of the summer. Today, I'm not going to focus too much on the majors because it's going to take me a long time to go into detail and tell you, what all these majors entail. But that's what we're going to do during the Q&A at the end of the session. So if you have any specific questions, feel free to write them down. And then, in the end, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll make sure that all of your questions are answered. So when it comes to audition, this is the most important piece of your Berklee application, right? Doesn't matter what major you're looking into, because all students that come to Berklee as undeclared, meaning that you will not have a major until the second year of your career, okay? And this is why the process to get into Berklee is the same, regardless of the major that you're applying for, right? So let's say that you apply today. What happens after you apply? You will receive an invite from my team for an audition. This audition could be in person or could be on Zoom, per your preference. Before, we used to travel to over 50 different locations, domestic and internationally, to meet you on your turf and make sure that you could audition in person. Now with the pandemic, things have gotten a little bit more complicated. So we switched to also Zoom auditions for those who cannot make it to an in-person audition site. But auditions on Zoom have also been extremely successful. And this is really what the structure of your audition is going to look like, right? We have a prepared piece. You will have from 3 to 5 minutes to play a piece of your choosing, right? So personally, I'm a guitarist. If I had to audition today, I would play on a backing track just because, it's probably the cleanest way to do what I do. But I'm obviously different from, what you do as a musician. So you could actually play a cappella, you could sing a cappella, you could play in a backing track, you could bring your accompanist or your music teacher, you could bring your band, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever makes you stand out and shine as a musician, that's what you want to do during your audition. Also, the prepare piece is literally what I call your business card into Berklee, because it should tell the faculty who you are and what you do as a musician and where your potential is, right? As a performer, as a musician. So after this 3-5 minutes worth of prepare piece, you will perform an improvisation piece. So our faculty may send you a backing track on Zoom, or may just play something on guitar or on a bass or on a piano, and all you have to do is to improvise, right? We have a number of practice exercises on our manual. So later on during the Q&A, I'll make sure that I share the manual with you. If not, if you want to check it out right now, it's going to be part of your QR code downloadable view book that I showed you in the beginning, or you could just Google Berklee audition guidelines to see some of these practice exercises. Number 3 is going to be your training. So this begins with a number of clapping exercises that you're going to have to perform together with our faculty. And then there could be a number of questions more towards the music theory side of things, right? You may be asked to recognize if a chord is major, minor, 7, diminished, and so forth. And you may be asked to identify the notes within a chord. Okay, so this is a very common exercise. If I say F minor, if I say D major, or if I say C minor sharp, what are the notes that live within that chord? So this is the kind of mental exercise that you're going to have to do. Moving forward, we're going to have a sight reading piece. This is going to be a couple of brief practice exercises that are specific to your instrument, right? So if you're a vocalist, you're going to be handed some vocalist piece. If you're a guitarist or a cellist, you're going to be handed materials that are specific to your instrument. So all of this, it takes a long time to talk about it. Also, I'm not too sure what is happening to my screen, but it takes a long time to talk about it, but only happens in 15 minutes, right? So I'm not sure if Anna, you wanna take care of whatever is happening on our screen.
Guys, please clear your annotations if you did any. Nope.
So yeah, moving forward, why is it so important to perform well in your audition? The reason is because through the audition, you will get, scholarships pretty much. The scholarship is really based on how prepared you are during the audition, and they go from merit-based scholarships to presidential scholarship. They will cover 100% of your tuition and accommodation, right? So if you look at the manual that I'm going to be sending you later, you'll have a much better idea of how to prepare and what it is that you have to do to secure the scholarship. Also, these scholarships are renewable. They will go from your first day of career at Berklee all the way to graduation. So it's very important to be able to secure them. So moving forward, after the audition, you will also have to perform in an interview. What I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna restart my screen just for the sake of things. So the interview, after the audition is gonna be a 15-minute interview with an audition representative. And you're gonna be asked questions about your career, what have you done as a musician, what you're looking to do, and also technically in what way you can contribute to the Berklee community. Because we have no essay requirement, you will be asked to answer these questions because this is in lieu of an actual essay that you usually requested to write in other colleges' applications. The last piece of the puzzle is going to be your supplemental materials. You're going to have to submit your current transcripts. If you're coming from high school, obviously you're submitting high school transcripts. If you're coming from college, your most updated college transcripts. Berklee does have a 3.0 GPA requirement. So that's something that you have to be mindful of as you're applying. And also there's English requirements for those of you whose first language is not English. That does happen. In that case, you're gonna have to submit TOEFL or IELTS or Duolingo. Same thing with other non-mandatory requirements like personal statement and song links that you can always submit to us, and they get attached to your application for final evaluation. All right, so I'm gonna end it right here and I'm gonna stop sharing screen soon. Don't forget to download this view book as you'll find all the information that you need for your Berklee application, okay? I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna open it up to a Q&A as some of you may have questions about this.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Okay, is the screen still sharing?
No, it's not. I actually stopped sharing.
Okay. Okay, sorry. I think my computer, I don't know what's happening. Okay, anyway, so the first question is, how are students assessed throughout the year?
Sorry, what is the question again?
How are students assessed throughout the year?
Well, I'm not sure if I understand the question correctly. Obviously, just like any other college, you will have to take classes and you will have to maintain a GPA that is enough for you to maintain scholarship and also to maintain admissions in the college, right? So you will be walked through a number of requirements by our academic advisors during orientation so that you are 100% aware of how to be in good standing when it comes to academics. So, Berklee is not a music institute, it's a college. That means that, there's a requirement that you have to maintain from an academic